Literally, this is important. I've been like selling them, like, okay, listen, man, you were not made just for yourself. You were made for a purpose. Let's get out. Let's get after it. We had about 100 students that went on this trip, and we've been just getting after it. We're in the poorest, the poor of the slum, and we're just helping, and we're doing this. We're digging holes. We're like digging like latrines, like 20 feet deep, which is like super nasty work, but we're just like rolling up our sleeves, man. Like, come on, we are made for the kingdom. And I remember there was a night that one of my friends who was a missionary came in town, and he was usually there, but I only got him for one night because of his travel schedule. And so all the young men and women were all like hanging out, and they were all grabbing dinner. And he was like, "Man, we got to grab one dinner. Me and you, we're going after it. We're gonna grab some dinner. Are you in?" I'm like, "Man, yeah, that's awesome." He's like, "I got this place. You got to dress up a little bit." He's like, "I got some clothes for you." So here's the deal. I'm like, "All right, man, let's do this." So I'm in for it. I love a good meal, but I was feeling a little guilty. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm going to a good meal and they're eating like rice and chicken. Anybody ever been on a trip and you've had like rice and chicken like the 8th time, and you're like, "Man, I feel like I'm gonna die." So there's like rice and chicken. So here's the deal. So I show up to this place, and as we get ready to roll into, go to this place to eat, it's like the only kind of nice place in town. And Dominicans, we were in like the slums, but where we were going to that night was kind of a nicer place. And as we show up, there's like the restaurants over on the other side. And he's been telling me how good it's going to be, and I'm so hungry right now. Like my mouth, it's just salivating. I can't wait. Am I doing that to you right now? I know the lasagna was good, but. Just kidding. Okay, so here's the deal. Like, I'm just sitting here going, man, I'm so excited. I'm ready for a good meal. So all of a sudden we pull up to this place, and right here where this open air thing and like the restaurant's right there is like this, I don't know what's going on, but there's like lights like this. There's like a stage like this, and there's like all of these people like guarding, and there's like one gate. Like there's one gate right in the middle of this thing, and I'm like, "Bro, what is this?" And he's like, "I don't know. It's like some kind of party. I don't know what it is. But let's just check it out. Let's just see if we can get to the restaurant." So as we get a little bit closer, we start recognizing that this is like kind of a swanky thing. They've got like tables all over the place. They've got like all these cameras, and I'm like, "What is this?" Like everybody's speaking in Spanish, and I'm like, un poquito. Like I got nothing. Like I can see. Yes, I don't know. So I'm like, "Hola, everybody," and I can't tell what's going on. All I know is, anybody ever flip through the Spanish channels? Anybody on their TV? Anybody heard of Telemundo? Okay, so the Telemundo chick is there, and I'm like, "That is the Telemundo chick." Like, I don't know a lot, but I know that. And so literally, like, I'm like, "Oh, it's like, what is this?" He was like, "I don't know." So we're like, here's the thing, like, I don't know what it is, but there's no way we're gonna get in. And then right in the middle, true story, right in the middle of the crowd, there's this guy, and he says the name of my friend. He's like, "Hey." And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "This way." And we're like, "Yeah, VIP, what's up?" So all of a sudden we're invited into this. I don't even know what this is, but the Telemundo chick is there. It can't be bad. And so all of a sudden we get access into this door, and they let us in. They part the ways, and we're just kind of walking past all these suckers that can't get in. I'm like, "I'm so sorry, but we're pretty important." So we start walking in, and I'm start getting excited. Like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know. All I know is I got through the gate. And so then all of a sudden they start walking us through the gate, and as they walk us through the gate, they march us through, and I'm like, "Oh, is this the table?" And they're like, no, just keep coming. They're like, I'm like, "Yeah, sure, cool, just tell me." So we keep walking, and then all of a sudden I realize there's like this little platform, and on top of that platform is a table, and everybody looks important, and all of a sudden they start walking us up the steps to this kind of VIP table, and I'm like, "Let's go." Like, I don't even know what I'm doing. But I start to see like the waiters like carrying around like fillets and steaks, and I'm going, I don't know what I just got myself into, but this is the best night of my life. Like don't tell everybody else that I'm eating filet when they're like hanging out in the dorm right now. And so literally we get up there and we get sitting down, and I'm so super pumped. And I'm like, "I don't know what this is, but this is awesome. Telemundo, and let's get rolling." All of a sudden, it starts dawning on me that I'm sitting at the table of some fairly shady characters. And Telemundo, the lights and the cameras come on, and all of a sudden the ladies start going. I'm like, "The Telemundo," she's like, and I'm like, this is awesome. And then it dawns on me, I don't know what I'm at. And all of a sudden, I find myself within 5 seconds being interviewed at the table, and these ladies in bikinis start coming out onto the platform. I'm sitting front center of the Miss Dominican bikini pageant. And I kind of want to die. I'm like, I shouldn't be here. And all of a sudden, the camera turns, and it's me sitting next to this. I'm like watching the TV. I'm on Telemundo. And I'm like, please, no parents watching the Spanish channel tonight, please. Is that our pastor that's wasn't at the bikini competition? I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Like, get me out of here. I don't know you people. I don't even know what you're saying. Why do I say that? Here's why. Because I think that there's a lot of you in the room that are a lot like me, where there is something very intoxicating about the doors we walk through. Sometimes we're not even sure why we want to be there. We just know that we want to be there. I just know that I don't want to be here. I know that that's access, and if I've got to go through that door to get into that mix, then I want to be in that mix. And if there's a voice from the crowd that can invite me in, that I want to walk through that door into that place. And part of me is like, I don't even care what comes. But some of you in the room, we're going to be real tonight, have found that not every door that you walk through, not every voice that you listen to is a voice that you can trust. And some of you have already found your spot, your kind of self in a place that you didn't plan. See, here's what happened. You showed up. You showed up at the party and you knew, here's what you knew. You knew that there was a group of people that were hanging out and they were having fun and there was so much energy that they talked around and you were like, I just want to be a part of that group. I want the text, I want the laughter, I don't want to miss out. And so you found yourself walking through a door one night and you remember the moment because your heart was jumping because you were like, I'm not sure I should be here. But I know that I want that, man. I know that I want in. I want a voice calling me. I want to be in the middle. And then all of a sudden, fast forward, and I know you, and I don't know where you're at. Maybe this isn't you. Maybe you're still riding on the high of walking through the door. But a lot of you have come to find out that the door that you walked through and the voice that you listened to landed in you in a place that you're not so sure you want to be anymore. Because what started off as a place that you wanted to be to, you started going to those places and all of a sudden you found that's actually a pretty shallow place. That's actually a place where I end up not being who I want to be. And literally, if you fast forward my life 10 years, I don't even want to be that dude. I don't even want to be that girl. But somehow I keep finding myself in this place and I'm like, I just want to crawl on the table, but under the table sometimes because I don't want to be here. But this is where I'm at. Some of you, the doorway wasn't a party, the doorway was a relationship. And you're like, she's so fine. And you're like, the girls are like, he's just got these cute little ab muscles, I just love them. Right? And like, isn't there something inside of you that said, here's the thing, man, I just don't want to be alone. I know that I don't want to be that person in high school that doesn't have somebody. Like if this is the gate and if that's where I want to be, then I just know this, man. Like I just know that I want to hear a voice on the other side saying, I think you're cute. I think you're valuable. I think you're hot. Can I get your digits, girl? Like I want to know what it's like, Snapchat, whatever. Digits, that just took me back a little bit, y'all. You're welcome. This is just me and you. Okay. But let's be real. Can we be real? Because all of a sudden you thought you were just stepping in and you're just going to have a relationship and it's just going to be love and you're just going to be, oh, I like you, girl. You're just going to say, I like you, girl. But the door wasn't a door to a relationship. The door ended up being a door to a basement. In that basement, girl, some of you found that you've just had to keep giving more of yourself than you wanted to. And fellas, you keep having to hear what the guys are doing and you've got this thing inside of you and in that basement, you walk through that door and you just wanted a relationship, you just wanted to hang, you just thought they were cute, but all of a sudden you find yourself not where you want to be. Girls having something taken from you every single time and it's just like, man, man, I don't want to be that girl. And some of you guys, I know you, that's not the guy that you want to be. But somehow, man, you walk through the door and you listen to the voice. And now you're in a place you don't want to be. It's the same thing as addiction, right? It's not just you guys, man. It's a lot of you girls in the room. You heard about pornography and you know, you didn't start there. You know, some of the young guys I'm around, they're like, not to be mean, but like, they're like, it was like the TikTok pregame, man. It was like TikTok just got me like wired, and they grabbed a hold of my heart, and then all of a sudden I just kept finding myself on these websites, on these porn websites, and I'm just looking. It's like, man, I just wanted to see. I was just a little curious. I just wanted to kind of experience and know what it was like. But here's the thing: you walk through that door, and the voice said, "Man, this is totally normal. This isn't a big deal. This is what everybody does." You tell me that you're in a place you want to be. You tell me, fellas, that now that this addiction has taken root in you, that you wouldn't give a whole lot of everything to go back and undo what was that moment where you stepped in through that door. I'm just trying to be real. Man, some of you, I really believe this. I think the doors that you walk through were ones, some of them were the ones that right now you're walking in, you're like, man, how did I get here? 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 Some of you, man, you wanted a sport. You gave your life to a sport. You had an older sibling that played that sport. I don't know, maybe your parents grew up doing that. And so you like just gave your heart to that, and you walk through that door, and you're in club, and you're in this, and you're in this, and you're in this. And right now, just being honest, right now, the voices are telling you got to get, you're starting to see that maybe you're not just an athlete. Man, I love athletics. I love you being competitive. I hope you play every sport on the planet. And that's not who you are. And some of you, man, your whole lives are being driven. So many of your friends aren't here because sports is running their lives. Some of you, some doors have opened and they didn't take you where you thought. But then some doors, right now, a lot of people in the room that you're knocking on, that you're hoping, like you're living for the fact that you kind of hope it opens right now. So some of them, you walk through the door, and all of a sudden you're like, man, I'm in a spot I didn't even know that I could ever be, and this isn't where I want to be. But then there's other of you that right now you would do anything just for this door to be opened. Man, I'd give anything to play sports in college right now. Man, I'd give anything to date that kind of girl or to date that kind of guy. Man, I'd give anything to get a scholarship, to do this, to do that. And I'm just saying, so many of you are just saying, hey, listen, there's this door that I can walk through, and I just want to be a part of that group. I just want to be a part of those people. I'd give anything to just be a part of that right now. And you're like, literally, your highs and your lows are all wrapped around which friend group you're not hanging with, and which guy doesn't want to date you anymore. Which girl has kind of moved on from you? So Matt, why are you saying that, man? You're being like super heavy, right? Well, we'll just chill, we'll get there. But I got one more group because some people have been walking through some doors. I just want to be super clear with you all tonight because I just want to help. Some of you have been walking through some doors, maybe listening to some voices, and you don't want to be where you are. Some of you are giving your whole lives in hopes that if that door opens for you, that you'll finally find everything you're looking for. But then there's another group, and you're a little bit like me, where you're not the one that opened the door, but somebody made a decision that hurt you. And you're not in the place because you walked through the door. You're in the place because somebody else walked through the door, and I don't want to be, and they hurt you, they abused you, they neglected you. You had a parent that because of their choices, you're walking in stuff that I'm just being honest, you shouldn't be in right now, and I'm sorry. Some of you are in a spot right now where there was a guy, and he had no business dating you. He's a bum. Can I just say that? He's a bum. Girls, can I get a witness? He was a bum. I'm not saying you fellas, I'm saying whoever that was. But girls, you know and I know. Like, he broke your heart in a pretty significant way. And right now, man, everything's just, so man, we got, what do you do with all this? Because I'm just telling you, the amount of doors that are open in front of you, the amount of voices that are promising you things, there's so many of them. So here's what happens in John chapter 10, that's the one that we just read. Jesus just wants to talk about it because what he recognizes is you can't trust every voice. You can't walk through doors and not have an understanding of what's on the other side because you're going to get hurt, man. And I just want you to know, as a shepherd, he just says this. Let me put it like this. It's like shepherd and sheep. And I don't know if you've heard that before, but that's kind of it's like an analogy, it's a parable. And the point is not that sheep are what? You might want to take a guess. Dumb. And you're like, oh, so we're stupid now. Thank you, Jesus. Not the point of the story. They are dumb, like stupid. But anyways, the point is not the sheep. The point in the story is going to be Jesus was like, I just want to make sure that you know who I am. And I want to make sure that you can distinguish between the doors that I want you to walk through and the voices that are calling to you. So Jesus just unpacks this parable. And he says, so let's do this. It's like shepherds and sheep. And so you just need to know not every shepherd is the same. You can't trust them all, family. So he says, he kind of comes up with two groups. He says one group is like the thieves and the robbers. So thieves and a robber. And so you're like, okay, so it's not like sheep are walking around with some bling, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you stealing from a sheep? Like, what are you robbing from them? They got two things. What is it? Wool? Somebody said fur. That's cute. That's fine. Somebody needs to get her on a farm. It's fine. Wool and meat. Well, so Jesus says this, and I just, maybe this relates, maybe it doesn't. He says, listen, there are going to be voices in your life and doors that open. I just need you to know that not every shepherd is the same. They're actually, hear this. They're actually people that just want to treat you like wool, meaning there are voices in your life that don't really care about you. They care about the fact that you make them look good. See, there are voices in your life, they don't really care about you. You're a piece of meat. What's that mean? That means they have some kind of, like when I'm hungry, I want to do what? I want to eat. That's like a base desire. So it's not that they care about you, it's that they have this desire inside of them, and you just happen to be the one to fill their desire. So fellas, let's just say it like this. It's like, for you, and this is a little hard for you, it's like when a girl treats you like a piece of meat. It's when a girl has just some sadness and loneliness and she just needs somebody to be around and to text. And I'm just being honest, you don't hear this enough, but you're just a piece of meat to her. You're that person that like somebody is driving the agenda on your life. They want you to be great because that's what they want for you, and they have an agenda and it satisfies and makes them feel good. And so I don't know who that person is in your life, but sometimes, fellas, you can be treated like a piece of meat. And ladies, I just want to say, I don't think I have to go too far to help you understand that sometimes you can be treated like what? Got weird, didn't it? So what'd you say? I missed it. Objects, yeah. So time out, let's just do this, and let me unpack more, okay? Here we go. Come with me, and then let's find another way. So Jesus says, listen, there are gonna be voices in your life, man. I just wanna be real with you. I think Jesus was the best at it. There's not a fake part of him. He says, listen, man, there are voices in your life, and you gotta recognize, because it's not like the sheep are walking away with people that they think are good people. What they don't recognize is that there are voices, and those voices, you've gotta be more aware, because they're just thieves and robbers, man. are trying, they're I don't know how else to say it, they're using you to look good. Or they're using you to fill some kind of need that, I'm just being honest, you can't fill. See, then he says this other group, and then that sounds like these are terrible people. And so he goes on, he says, okay, it's like thieves and robbers, but now it's like a hired hand. It's like, so there's this hired hand, and there are these voices in your life, and Jesus is like, I just need you to know what a hired hand is. You kind of get it, and like for us, like that's so weird. Like, what's a hired hand, and what do they do? We just says this, there's some people that their intentions aren't bad. Some of your coaches, some of your friends, some of the people that you date, some of the things in your life, it's not like their intentions are bad. You need to hear that. Not everybody has a bad agenda. I always love this line. It's not that everybody's against you. It's just that they're more for themselves. This is like a crowd participation night. I like this. So here's the thing. It's not that they don't care about you. But Jesus just said, you just need to know, and let's just be real. Can we just be real? You know they care more about themselves than they care about you. And then when push comes to shove, if it's you or them, you just need to know it's going to be them. Like, that's the way it works. But then he gives this other picture. It's this super interesting thing because it's like one of them is like they're just going to care about themselves, but then this another, he says, okay, picture it like this. Like you got this sheep, this group of sheep that are on the hill, and there's like a wolf coming. And Jesus says when the wolf's coming, when danger's coming, when there's something that wants to take the life of the sheep, he's like, you just need to know there's some people in your life, there's some voices in your life, there's some doors that are open before you. Before you go in that door, just know that about the time you actually get yourself in trouble and you get yourself in danger, just understand. Jesus says that there are voices in your life that when that happens, they're not going to stick around, man. They're going to run. And they won't be there. Well, why are they going to run? Well, there's a lot of reasons to run. Like one reason to run is they just don't care and they don't get hurt. Another reason that they run is because they recognize that the danger that is coming for you is greater than the strength that they have within them to fight for you. So they're not going to sacrifice themselves for you because what you're what's up against you is way too strong for them. So Jesus just says, listen, there's kind of these two things. So why do I say that? Well, can we, again, I want to be real. Because right now, y'all, there are so many doors and voices in front of you. So can I give you, let me give you my door real fast. And some of you have heard me share this before. But I remember the moment. Like I grew up, and I don't want to get too dramatic, and I don't have the worst story ever, and there's people in this room that have stories like me, and I totally get that. But I just know this, like I was raised in a place where man, my family just didn't have they didn't have it figured out, and we were living in the hood, and we had a lot of abuse in the house, and I had a lot of sibling stuff, and cops are in and out of the door, and it just wasn't good, man. And I'll never forget like that moment, like my mom, when she came to Christ and when she figured out who he was and how to pursue him, it was like this bright, shining light in my family, man. And I just remember I was like the only one from my two parents. And then we had siblings from, each marriage and all that kind of stuff. And I just remember like she was just radiant. There was like something so different and good. And all these other people, it felt like every time I was with them, it was like pulling something, literally taking something from me in the way that they treated me, in the way that looked. And I just remember like just wanting to hold on to her, but I just didn't understand it, and I just didn't get it. I just knew that she was different. And then all of a sudden, we went to this prayer meeting, true story, and I remember it clear as day, and I remember coming to the door of the house, and the whole way that we were on the way over there, my mom was crying in the car because my brother as a sixth grader, had gotten beaten so badly, and she just didn't know what to do. She didn't have the power to get out of the situation we were in. Some of you have zero power to get out of the situation that you're in. And I remember going to that door. And on the door of that, we walked into that door, and there's a prayer gathering there for my mom. And then we just started praying, and they're like, we're going to find a way, for Matt to go to this little school. And my mom was like, man, we don't have the money. There's no way we can do that. And they're like, we've got to get him out of this, and we got to save him because our God is a saving God. That's just who he is. So within like pretty short order, I was already late, and I walked down the hall of this kind of preppy school, and some of you sitting in this room, this is how you feel. Everybody else is shiny. I remember showing up that day, and I'm like the only inner city street kid rat, and all I know is I'm going to this school, and everybody else there is like really shiny, and everybody's got, in my mind, I'm just thinking of all the things, and they probably got perfect families, and they probably don't have cops in and out of their home, and I remember walking in, I remember walking down that hall, and I remember looking like literally waiting outside the door, thinking, what's it gonna look like when I walk through this door? Man, I got like no money, I stick out, they're never giving me, I just flooding through my memories. And I just remember walking through that door. And I remember, and I've shared this before, like Mrs. Shaw, kindergarten teacher, man, we needed a whole lot of Mrs. Shaws. She just cut across the room and she just made a beeline for me, this ratty little kid that she had no clue, man. It was dark, y'all. And my brother's already had me smoking weed at this point. I'm 6, man. And she comes over and looks me in the eyes. She's like, Matthew, I'm so glad you're here. If you hear anything from the Father's voice this weekend, it's like straight for him. And I hope you hear that. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you hear him say that over you. I'm so glad you're here. She lifted my face and she looked in my eyes. I have 2 different colored eyes. And she said, young man, you have 2 different colored eyes, don't you? And I said, yes, ma'am. She said, young man, you are marked by God. He's got a powerful destiny for you, and he sent you to us. And all of a sudden, I just started to see what it was like for somebody to be a different kind of voice in my life. Why do I say that? Because tonight, I want to give you an opportunity. Because what I've found and what a lot of people have found in this room, and I think it's true, is that there are a lot of voices in your life that you can't trust and a lot of doors that if you go through, I'm just being honest, even when they're not bad people, they're taking you to places you don't want to be. I've spent so much time in my life with all the people that have walked through doors and it just didn't end up the way they thought. I've sat with, time and time again, I've sat with a guy who ended up in the NFL and he ended up living out his dreams and he ended up being the great thing. And then he's 35 and his heart's wrecked and he doesn't know what to do and he doesn't know how to relate to his wife. And it didn't take him where he thought he was going to go. And I've sat with the girl who's 25 years old and she really put her heart and her soul into a boy or into a sport or into this kind of stuff. And you fast forward that thing. And I'm just telling you, I've sat with a million times and it's like anybody who ever puts their hope in anything other than Jesus, I've sat with them a million times. It didn't take them where they thought it was going to go. Literally, yesterday in the airport, there's one restaurant open. I walk in this restaurant, I sit down. It's called Cole's. I don't know if you've been there in the B lounge of the airport there in Louisville. And I sit down, I'm at this bar with this group of people. And it's like every other chair. And because COVID's whatever. So person here, space, me, space, person. And I just want pizza, man. So I just go up and I'm texting on my phone all these men in my life. Because my life was so crazy, God because he's a good shepherd, planted a whole bunch of just amazing people in my life, man. And I just get so overwhelmed by that. He's been so good to me. I'm just texting, man. And they're talking about, I don't even know what, brother over here is drunk already. I'm I'm not talking to that cat right now because he won't even remember it. So I'm just texting on my phone, and all of a sudden this girl looks at me, and she's like, so what are you doing right now? And I was like, I don't, what are we, I'm just texting all these guys, that I feel like God's kind of planted in my life, and all of them go, you got to share your story right now. And I'm like, no, what? This girl moves over, and this girl moves over, and this guy moves down. For 30 minutes, I sat there, almost missed my flight here, listening to another guy added in the middle of this thing. A guy from Trinity High School that it was literally on his way out of town to Cancun because he's lonely and he's literally going down to party by himself so he can be the kind of person that he can't be around here and not get judged for. And his heart's empty and his heart's a wreck, and I think he might have just changed his plans yesterday. And I sat next to this girl who went to North Oldham High School. And she thought, you know what, if I just get good grades and I'm successful, and she was dating a cute boy, and she went into medical sales, and all of a sudden she's like, my life is great, and then she gets to her mid-20s and realized that she can have all the money, and the boy stuff just fell apart, and she's broken, and she doesn't know what to do. And she's in a place she doesn't have the power to get out of. This guy over here that's already drunk, he starts telling me why he's already drunk. He's already drunk because he came to visit his father who lives in town. He's going back to his mom's in Florida because he's living in her basement because he's so addicted with drugs, because he just wanted to be a party kid and grew up in Louisville, grew up in one of the high schools, and just want to say, man, I want to be a part of the crowd. He got hooked. He walked through a door he didn't think. He thought he was just stepping into fun. He ends up in an addiction that he can't escape, and he's 31 years living in his mom's basement and just felt hopeless. The girl next to him, she's sitting there and she's like just sitting there going, man, I'm marrying a guy in 6 months and I don't even know why. And he's like 13 years older and he treats me poorly and I don't know what to do. And literally right there, they're just like, would you just pray for us? Would you just? And it was just literally just yesterday, man, like last night. I'm praying over people. They're just like you. Fast forward to 10 years down the road. And I'm just here to tell you, I can't watch the people that I love keep getting lied to, man. Walking through doors that, man, I get it. I get it. I've been there. Trusting voices that are only going to hurt you. And in the middle of that, hear this. Jesus just steps in this scene and wants to step into your life tonight and say, here's the good news. I'm not like all those other voices. I'm a good shepherd. I care about you. I love you. As a matter of fact, when everybody else will run from you, I will lay my life down for you. He has laid his life down for you. He just says, listen, people in the room can attest, I will never, ever lie to you. Anybody in the room been lied to by him? You won't find one. I'll only tell you the truth. I'll only lead you to a place where you can be. And he just says this in and out thing. He says, listen, if you'll just come to me, if you'll just listen to me. And here's the thing, man, I'm going to give you, and he says, you get in and out. He said, I'm going to bring you into my presence, and you're just going to have more than you understand, like plans and purpose and hope and healing and all those things that you keep wanting from all those other places. I'm just telling you, all that stuff you're chasing, I've got, and all you have to do is come to me, and I will give you real joy. I will give you real relationships. I'll give you the kind of purpose that a sport can't give you. It will transcend it. You can use it in it, but it's what you are made for. I said, man, I have it all, man. So all you have to do is turn off the voices. And just walk through the door. Matt, what's that look like? Well, here's what that looks like. So some of you in the room, you've never, ever, maybe it's the first time you're hearing this. You've never put your faith and trust in God. What's that mean? That means all of a sudden, all those voices, your eyes open up. You're starting to have a maturity in your chest to recognize, man, all of these things are not real. And you're starting to see that Jesus really is real, that there's a creator that loved you and he made you and he formed you and you weren't an accident. I don't care what somebody has said to you, that there is something inside of you that he loves, that he treasures, that you're his daughter, that you're his son, and that he laid his life down for you. And all you have to do to respond, you don't even have to be good enough. Because when he came here and lived a perfect life, he laid himself down on a cross so that now when you want to have access to him, you don't have to worry about what you've done and what's in the past. You can just come straight through the door and just say, Jesus, I just want to know you. I want to know Christ. I want to have a relationship with him. You don't have to have it all figured out. All you have to say is, I just want you. Can I just start walking through this door? You could do that tonight. You could say like, I've never, some of you have been waiting a long time. I don't know what you're waiting on. I love you, but come on, man. You know this is a decision that you're supposed to make. You just haven't made it. Why would you wait? But then I think there's another group in here, and some of you right now, you feel like this, man. Like I've done the Jesus Door thing, and I walked through it one time, and I was at a Bible on Beach, or I was at a thing, and in the reality, I love this text here. I wish I had more time for it, but he just talks about in and out. He just says, listen, like I'm the door, I'm the gate, and so if you come to me, if you find me, if you'll trust me, if you'll listen to me, if you'll listen for my voice, and I promise you, I'm gonna lead you, and I'm gonna lead you well. I'm a good shepherd. I'm a good father. But he says this real word thing. He doesn't just say, I'm going to lead you into a pasture and you're just going to like hang out there and it's going to be awesome forever. It says you're going to come in and you're going to come out. And you're going to come in and come out. And some of you feel a little bit like that. Maybe nobody's ever told you this, but when some of you in the room, you made a decision to follow Jesus. And you were in a moment and you were like in his presence. You sensed his healing. You heard his voice and it was powerful to you. But all of a sudden you went out back into your everyday life and all of a sudden you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mistakes away and you started thinking, well, maybe that didn't take and maybe that wasn't real and maybe I don't really deserve it. And the only thing keeping some of you in the room, please hear me tonight. The only thing keeping some of you from the healing and the power and the grace and the forgiveness that you need, like right now. Some of you, you need this desperately. The only key thing keeping you from stepping into that is you. He loves you. He wants to speak to you. He says, my sheep know my voice, and when they know my voice, I just start leading them. And I'll lead him in. And there are some times when you're just gonna have to be in his presence and you change. And there are gonna be these other times when you're trying to figure out and it's a little clunky. Some of you, you're all locked up in your mind. You haven't had the feels this week. Or maybe you've had a bunch of challenges of faith and all this stuff is like rising. And it's like you're just doing this tide thing and you're like, listen, I don't know what I'm doing and this feels really confusing. And Jesus is saying, listen, man, I'm a good shepherd. Just come to me. Let me sort this out. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna give you a moment for you to listen. I think God's already been speaking into some of your chests. I really believe that. I'm literally like create some space right now. And I think the shepherd of your souls, every single one of you wants to speak to you. So here in a second, I'm just gonna pray. Nothing magical for me, but I just want you to be open, available, to listen to the shepherd's voice. So some of you, here's how this is gonna go. I'm gonna give you space and you're just gonna say, God, what do you wanna say? For some of you in the room, he's gonna say, I don't know, I just know him. He's gonna say, it's time. It's time to choose publicly to make this official, to accept me as Lord and Savior. Some of you in the room, he's gonna give you the name of a voice that you've been putting your hope and your trust in. Some of you, he's gonna give you an encouraging word. I don't know he's gonna speak to you, but I just know he's gonna speak to you. And then after that, we're just gonna give you a little time to just worship and respond. And so right now, let's just bow your heads, close your eyes wherever you are. Let me just pray. Dear Heavenly Father, God, I pray that in these next few moments, that the good shepherd would speak to his kids. Father, I'm speaking to the adults in the room too. Father, I believe there's a whole host of people in this room that walked through doors and listened to voices and have found themselves in a place they don't want to be. So, Father, I pray by your power and by your might and by your majesty that you'd speak a word into your kids. And that right now, tonight, lead them back to you. Speak to your kids. Just listen to him. Nobody can speak a word like he can speak a word. Just listen to him. Some of you in the room have to get over your pride and your ego. Just listen. So, Father, right now, just by the power of your Son, Jesus, and by the power of your Spirit, God, we just pray that you just speak to your kids. That in a world that is trying to pull them down every door, giving them voices day and night, Father, I just pray a cease. That the way that you rebuke the wind and the waves, that you would just rebuke the other voices right now and just clear space in their minds, in their brains, in their hearts to see you for who you are. Your extravagant love, your grace without end, your power to get them out of circumstances that nobody else can get them out of. Some of them are heading back even tonight, just with a million questions about how would I even change, and that's not who I've been, and how many, God, I just pray that you just take all of that stuff that's clouding their minds and just drive it out. And let them hear the voice of the shepherd who says, come to me. Listen to me. I'll lay my life down for you. I will lead you well. Speak to your kids. So here's what we're going to do. I think hopefully tonight, can I just encourage you, just be real with somebody tonight, man. Jesus hates fake, and it's not doing you any good. So I just want to do a couple things. If you're in the room and you've never made the most important decision, in my opinion, to make Jesus Lord of your life, and I know you're in here. You've never done that in a public way. You may not even understand it completely. You just know you want him. I just want you to know, to my right, to your left is a door. I would just encourage you, get your tribe. If you're by yourself, awesome. If you got a couple people that you just want to pull with you, awesome. But I just need you to know this is going to be up. It's going to be up tonight. If you want to come back later, I'm just telling you, I wouldn't wait. But you have an opportunity tonight to say, Father, I'm done with all the other voices. I want to put my trust in the Good Shepherd. But then there's a bunch of others in literally tonight, just do it, just respond. But then there's a whole bunch of you in this room that man, you've been through this door. You've accepted him, you've been baptized publicly. But I'm just gonna be honest, some of you, it's been a real long time since you were just in his presence. You feel distant from him. Maybe you can call it rededication, you can call it what you want. I call it coming home. And you just need to come home. You say, you just need to literally, right now, just in your time, just say, God, I need your healing. God, I don't know what to do with this situation. I want to encourage you, talk to him. Get a couple people even next to you. Just say, would you pray with me? Would you pray for me? They're going to lead worship. They don't need you looking at them. They're fine. Y'all, they're fine. You're fine. You're fine. You take care of you. You pray over each other. If you have a decision that you just feel like God gave me a burning word in my heart, then talk to him. Pray with some people about it, and let's minister to each other tonight. But don't leave this room without a clear picture of the good shepherd. I just want you to know he loves you. You don't have to wait.